Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Rifka. I will present about a book review about conducting educational research by Brooke Whitman and Brian E. Harper. In this presentation, I divide into four parts. Number one is characteristic of a problem. Next, narrowing the range of problem. Then a classroom research problem, and last but not least, is specific consideration in choosing a problem. Number one is the characteristic of a problem. Although the task of selecting a research problem is often one of the most difficult steps in the research process, it is unfortunately the one for which the least credence can be given. Problem selection is not subject to specific technical rules or requirements like those that govern research, design, media measurement technique, and statistics. Fortunately, however, some guidelines can be offered. A good problem statement displays the following characteristics. So, what is kind of a good problem statement? Number one, it should ask about a relationship between two or more variables. Then, it should be clearly and ambiguously stated. Then, it should be stated in question form or in the form of an implicit question to ask the purpose of the study was to determine whether blah blah blah. And it should be testable by empirical method, that is, it should be possible to collect data to answer the question asked. And last, it should not represent a moral or technical or ethical position. Then we move to narrowing the range of problems. Theme of for classifying and selecting a problem. From the infinite number of potential problems for study, it is wise for researchers to narrow the range of possibilities to problems that correspond to their interest and skill. To accomplish this goal, some term of for classifying problems provide some useful help in selecting a problem. What is really important when you select this problem to classifying and accomplish classifying problem by scheme. Next, using conceptual model. A conceptual model is more than either a general classification scheme for a variable or a proposed set of linkage between class of variables. A conceptual model is a proposed set of linkage between specific variables, often along a path from input to processing to the outcome, with the express purpose of predicting or accounting for specific outcome. And in other words, it is a complex proposal of all the variables and the interconnection that make a particular outcome, such as learning or liking oneself, or delinquent behavior happen. Let's move on to the next point. It is a classroom research problem. A considerable amount of educational research, particularly in the study of teaching and learning, involves classroom activity. Much of it focuses on obtaining answers to the general question of whether one instructional method is more effective than another at improving learning or attitude under a given set of circumstances. circumstances. And next, I will explain about characteristics of infraction. Infractional material may include the following kind of resources. Number one is published print like textbook, video, or workbook. Then, unpublished print like handout, and can use multimedia resources, and that you can find it on the film, tape, or in the television. And then we need technological resources in the program and computer assisted. Then we need to have such as participatory activities. You can find it at its simulation and game. Then manipulable device like in apparatus and machine. And last, we need to the observable element like in display and exhibit. Next, okay, it is the last point that I will explain in this presentation. Specific consideration is choosing a problem. This section lists and discusses some critical criteria to apply to a chosen problem before going ahead with a study of it. Try these questions on your potential problem statement. Before you identifying a problem, you need to think about these questions. Number one is workability. Does the contemplated study remain within the limit of the resource and time constraint? And will you have access to the necessary sample in the number required? And can you come up with an answer to the problem? And if the required methodology manageable and understandable to you, then critical math. If the problem of sufficient magnitude and scope to fulfill the requirement that motivated the study in the first place, does the study target enough variable and has it identified enough of potential results, or will it give enough to write about? The next point is interest. Are you interested in the problem area, specific problem and potential solution? Does it relate to your background? Do you have interest you or does it interest you? And will you learn useful skills from pursuing the study? Then you need to have a theoretical value. Does the problem fill a gap in the literature? Will others recognize its importance? Will it contribute to advancement in your field? And does it improve upon the state of the art? And will it lead to a publishable report? And last, you need to have a practical value. Will the solution to the problem improve educational practice? Are practitioners likely to be interested in the result? And will the education be changed by the outcome? Will your educational practice likely change a result? So you need to ask this, try to answer this question before identifying the problem. You need to find if you are interested with your problem, if you have theoretical value or practical value and other. You need to do that in order to gain a good problem that you can use in your research. Okay, thank you for your attention, and that's all from me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.